Hello everyone and welcome to our exciting webinar on IBM Planning Analytics. And we're glad to have a great number of people across North America on our webinar today. We've got folks across the US and folks across Canada and a number of folks on here that I recognize and some that are clients and others that are new to us. So a special welcome to everybody who is on the webinar. And today, if you are in the business of getting involved in planning, budgeting, forecasting, reporting, analytics, and or predictive in your business, then I hope that this provides you with some great insight. Some of you may have heard of planning analytics and are looking forward to kind of seeing it. It's quite new from IBM and there really hasn't been too much out about it yet, so we're kind of leading the charge on this and glad to have you. You probably see my little cartoon there on the home page. And this really struck me here, and perhaps you guys are already a step ahead. You joined the webinar. And there's many folks who are doing what they do with the solutions that they have and think they're getting along. And the answer really is thanks, but no thanks, we're too busy, and yet don't know what they're missing. And so this cartoon is perfect. So if you think that at the end of the webinar we've got wheels for your cart, then we're all happy to talk to you and see if there's any way we can help you along in that way. Today on our webinar has been approved by the CPE Association. So if you are interested in getting continuing professional education credits, you get 1 credit for attendance of this webinar, but you have to be on for at least 50 minutes, and you also have to answer all 3 polls of the polling question coming up. So just let me know. I'm just going to start a poll here now, and I'm going to launch that poll, and so hopefully you can see that poll now, and I would ask that you, everybody answer that, and just let me know yes or no whether you're interested in receiving the credit. For those of you who answer yes, and provided you're on for the 50 minutes of the webinar and you answer the polling questions, then we will send you the certificate. If you're from Canada, this is a US designation certificate, but generally is accepted by the CPA Association, etc. in Canada as well. So certainly if you can use the credit, by all means do that. So I am going to close that poll now. Thank you for answering that. And we'll just run along with our agenda today. Our agenda today, we're going to do a little bit of an introduction. We're going to walk through some slides to introduce really the business and financial challenges associated with what planning analytics is addressing. We are going to have a few polls throughout. Then we're going to do kind of an initial overview of planning analytics from the slide, and then we're going to jump right into a demo for probably the remaining half of the webinar on demo of planning analytics and Watson Analytics. And some of you also, I know, are existing TM1, Cognos TM1 users. And so you're probably looking at this wondering what's the difference between planning analytics and TM1. So you'll see that definitely as we go through the slides and the demo, but at the end I've got just a chart that kind of walks through that for those of you that are familiar with Cognos TM1 or are already using that. And then hopefully we have a bit of time at the end for Q&A. So as we move along, please jump in with the chat. You'll see a chat item in your GoToWebinar area there, and please just send your questions to all or to Susan or Bob, who are on with me from Clear Insight, and we'll seek to address your questions as we move forward. So as mentioned, a number of you on the call are clients of ours already, and so you'll be very familiar with who Clear Insight is, but clearly we are an IBM business partner, and we work across the US and Canada, predominantly to the Office of Finance, but also to other areas of the business. And this is a great little pictorial of really what we're all about. In a nutshell, we're about helping you take your existing business capacity and driving better outcomes in your business. And so we work in 5 different areas of competency to help you, whether you're in finance or any of the other departments in the business. Firstly and foremost, financial performance management and strategy. Clearly, planning analytics addresses bubble number 1. Business intelligence, you will see how planning analytics also as a solution will give you extensive business analytics and intelligence across all your end users for your business. Financial governance, disclosure management, another area we work with, not addressed in this webinar at all, but if you do board reporting, disclosures, SEC reporting, etc., we're happy to help you with that area of business demand as well. Predictive analytics, bubble number 4, definitely falls into play. You'll see some predictive analytics capabilities in planning analytics, Watson, that we're going to show you today. And then lastly, risk and governance. So we're definitely going to hit bubbles 1, 2, and 4 of what we do. And even to some degree, number 5, you could have reports that help you with risk and compliance in number 5. And we're hoping that you see, as we are very excited about this new solution, that implemented properly in your environment can really help you drive better outcomes more efficiently. So let's just keep moving along here then. As we mentioned, planning analytics was designed to address a number of key issues in the business, and really what we're going to refer to for the next few slides as a deficit. Deficits that you have in trying to get the job done that you need to get done, whether you're in finance or other areas. And so the first deficit we're going to look at is an insight deficit. And really what we mean by that is no doubt in your business you have tremendous amount of valuable data sitting in your data warehouses, sitting in your accounting system, sitting in your ERP system, but really are you able to access it and leverage it? And all too many people have plenty amount of data but have very inefficient ways of accessing that data, and especially when you're trying to use that data to improve upon your business performance. And so especially if you're in the office of finance, you know, how can you not just be bookkeepers for the business but drive insight for the business? And I hope you see through what we're going to walk through today that planning analytics can really help take you in an efficient way from just ticking and bopping to really being insight and business partners in your business as you move forward. So, you know, one of your questions is this an area that is holding me back? We've got lots of data, but we really can't derive insight from it. And in a nutshell, really, that is because there is, you know, there's an inability to access and analyze the data. And you're not alone, because companies around the world really are growing tremendously now in the last number of years in the amount of data available to them. Not enough of it is being analyzed. So as a result, we're making business decisions that are not based upon the information that we have available that we could really be using. And so a question then that comes out to you to think about is really, is there an insight deficit? If I'm in finance, is there an insight deficit in my ability to really understand the metrics of my financial information to make decisions? If I'm in sales, do I have the insights I need to do sales performance effectively? If I'm in marketing, do I know how to target market and who my demographics are? And so, you know, we've got solutions that can pull data, but really do we have the insights available? So this brings us to our first of the 3 real pools in the business, and we want to ask you about your insight deficit, and think about this in the context of business analytics. So the business analytics and access to insight that you have in your business, where do you stand with respect to that? So I'm going to launch this next pool here. You should see that, and please just let me know, do you have no insight deficit at all? You can catch all opportunities and risks. Or you're insight rich, you're pretty good, but because you've got base reports and self-service, or you're dependent upon IT, or you really can't get to the information at all. So just, I'll give you folks just a minute or two to get your answers in there. So nobody knows what you're answering, but it's always useful. I know when I'm on webinars myself, I love to see what the audience and where we fit into things. So I'll just give you another 30 seconds, not even that long, a few seconds, and we'll close this poll up to keep things moving along. All right, we'll close that up. Thank you very much for entering that, and I'm just going to share the insights for that poll, and you can see that many of you are kind of across the board, and a lot of you have the base reporting and self-service capability, and then over 50% of you are less than that. And you're not alone. That's really kind of where the market is going, and hopefully as we walk through this, you'll see how this might help as well. Okay, we'll keep moving along here. And beyond insight deficit, then we move to what we're referring to as an agility deficit. Think about your business and think about the access to information you have, and as you do your planning, your budgeting, your business analytics, you're doing that to try and understand where you need to drive the business, where you need to change, what your plan should be at. But when we think about agility, we're thinking about running it across the business. And are you able to do this in a coordinated way across all the business and really implement those strategies in a collaborative way with each of the departments in the business? And so here we can just see from this survey that was done, 75% of large enterprises struggle to implement the strategies across their different business units once you get your plan done. And a lot of that is because the plans are done independently. They're perhaps done on Excel spreadsheets, and you don't know what other people have put in their plans, etc. And so struggle with an ability to coordinate and align and adapt across the business for different individuals. And it's to understand the past and the present, but even going beyond and forecasting the future together for that. So a question then is on your agility deficit. Where do you stand on an agility deficit with things? And this is, think about it in the context of budgeting and planning. As you do your plans and you execute your plans, are they fully integrated and aligned plans across all of the business? Or do you get your plans done efficiently, but it's silo in its execution? We're talking about the execution of your plans and how you're doing that. So I'm just going to open up that poll now and launch that poll for you to jump in and just think about that within your business. Think about your planning and budgeting process. As you receive your plans you have to enter in, whether it's on the budget side, the forecast side, think about it in the context of across your business, being able to be agile both in collaboration across your departments, but also in the context when you think about it in forecasting. You've got your budget down partway through the year. Are you agile enough to pull a forecast effectively across the business, right down to the frontline people, and then take that forecast and modify that so that you execute on the revised forecast? All right, I'll just give you another second or two for that, and then I'm going to close up that poll. All right, we've closed up that poll now, and I'm just going to share that with you on what you folks have thought. And the majority there are lying in a silo plan with no link to execution. And you know what? I've been on your side of the desk for 18 years in the corporate environment and in large international companies that I worked for, and we each did our plans and it was siloed. It went to finance, finance integrated it, but our execution was independent, and it doesn't yield to helping to overall collaborate and drive the business performance. So when we look at planning analytics and we start going through this, I want you to think about your how can we use this to get alignment across all the departments and to use it to drive execution as I'm going forward. All right, let's hide that up and continue on our little journey here. The good news is that as it relates to agility, the leaders have proven that doing analytics on your business and collaborating on the analytics can help with your agility in your business and move forward. This statement on the right, I love this statement given here. My objective is to move the finance staff from a state of transactional thinking to one of analytical thinking. And as I work with many companies, this really rings true because all too often the tools you're using continue to force you into transactional thinking. I'm trying and do my strategic work with my accounting system or with my ERP or even in Excel, and those don't lead to analytical thinking. Those things lead to transactional and are tremendous solutions for day-to-day transactional thinking. And so planning analytics is a complement to your ERP and your accounting systems, as we'll see, allows you to use Excel to drive agility in your business for that. And so on the third deficit is the technology deficit, and what technology are you using? And in this survey, of course, across the board, we've got folks who make their decisions based on intuition. The majority leveraging spreadsheets, and then ERP and the analytical tools. And you know, intuition can be effective for a few, and those who have been in the business many years is important. But spreadsheets lead us to manual, disconnected efforts. ERP can be very awkward for doing strategic work as opposed to tactical work. No predictions in your business certainly coming out of ERP and predictive capability. And then analytical tools, of course, really get you to the level where you need to be, but you're still short on the prediction capabilities as it relates to a technology deficit. So when we use those tools, and that's what you know, we most often are using, they're great for certain things. However, at the end of the day, we end up with implications that are listed here. With other solutions, trying to do what we're doing with planning analytics now tends to take too much effort. One of the worst situations, multiple versions of the truth, errors in reports and forecasts, and even worse still, a general lack of confidence, whether it's from the executive team or other leaders, in the numbers and the analytics that they have, often because of the way that the analytic and work is being done. So with that behind us, you know, and using those kind of systems, the result is really these three items across the top here. Often we're slow and error prone in what we're trying to do. We have lack of consistency and alignment across the business that we talked about, and we have a lack of reliability on the information, and all too often these days, no foresight at all. When all along what we're trying to do, and this is really the modus operandi for us at Clear Insight, is to help you drive efficiency, to be dynamic, and being able to adjust to the business and understand risks and opportunities. And now the capability of being able to give you some foresight into what potentially could be happening in the future so that you're capturing those risks and opportunities and able to address them in your business. All right, our third, I think this is our third and last audience poll on the technology deficit, and I focus this in on the predictive technology. Think about your ability to do predictive in the business. And there may be some on the call and you have no predictive deficit. You've got predictive insights in some fashion throughout your business, core into the way you do your analytics and reporting. Others may have some predictive capabilities and good technology for doing that. But I know in speaking to many customers, this is really a field that some have not been able to dive into just yet. So I'll just open up this poll and we'll launch this poll for you. And just take a minute and kind of drive that forward. All right, we're almost all in. Just give you a minute or two for a couple more. Okay, that's great. I'm going to close that up and share it with you again, and I appreciate your positive input on that and your honest input on that. And predictive really has been something that has been traditionally very expensive to do. You need data scientists to work on it. They're big technology projects. And so the ability to have pervasive predictive insights across the business really to date has been very, very difficult. We're going to see with Watson how it gives us a nice capability for end users to have predictive capability in your business. They then can be supported by the deeper type of predictive capabilities in the business. So thank you for your input on that. All right, let's just hide that and keep moving along here. So with that behind us now, we're happy to introduce planning analytics. So it's really been designed, and we'll talk about underlying technology a little bit later, but leveraging a lot of the powerful technology that IBM has had in the past and kind of redone to enable end users and businesses to address the key areas of speed, agility, and foresight. And speed we'll see in the ability of getting the solution up and running in your environment, having your users quickly getting insights from it, the ability for end users to build their own dashboards and reports, the ability for end users to easily input and enter their inputs into their plans, so that's going to be there. The agility part, we're going to see how this is a integrated collaborative environment, so all departments together and all end users are able to easily access the system, share the insights that they have, build new insights in a controlled, managed environment, and then the integration of Watson Analytics for Foresight on the business as well. And so this is why we're excited about it and what it's targeted to do. So planning analytics, it's more than just planning. We're not just talking about budgeting and planning. We're not just talking about replacing a spreadsheet, enter my numbers into my spreadsheet. We're talking about an integrated cross-organization solution that allows the management of plans, budgets, and forecasts, but then enables the analytics and the integration and collaboration and communication across the other users so that those plans are executed effectively in the business. So we're talking much more than just planning. We're talking analytics and execution of that. So when we open planning analytics, we immediately see an integrated interface, an integrated launchpad and dashboard from which I have access to all my analytics. It's a cloud-based solution, so you're going to get speed because it doesn't require you to get servers sorted out, get the solution put on your servers. The implementation of planning analytics for you is us working with you and IBM and getting you set up with the appropriate administration and end user IDs, connecting you to your data, and then going from there. So very quickly, relative to past solutions, to get you up and running and using the solution, with each person having their own dashboard and launchpad like this for self-service and access to business insights in the business. So relative to speed, and like other solutions, on the left side here we've got the traditional approach. We've got the corporate mandate coming down of the reports and analysis for the different areas of the business. They're typically built by developers and business analysts and then are shared with everybody, so you've got your static reporting and or dynamic reporting solution for the business. This traditional approach is definitely supported by planning analytics, and that's the quickest way to get you going. So there's going to be a core set of planning templates, a core set of budgeting templates, a core set of analytics and drill down and dashboards that will support the business. But that's just the beginning. In the old world, when you wanted your own custom report or whatever If you had the technical skills, you could build that yourself. Perhaps take quite a bit of time to try and do that. But then if you wanted to share it with others, that didn't happen. I'm going to show you in the demo how you can quickly build your own report, your own dashboard, and how you can share that with others. So the speed to leverage your traditional standard reports, but also build your own and share them with others in the business. Very exciting is IBM has held on to and leapfrogged other vendors in the leveraging Excel into the business as well. So you're going to see how we have an Excel interface, and we can leverage Excel for building reports and leverage Excel reports in planning analytics. We're also going to see how it's not just the data, of course, is not held in Excel. It's all in a central database, even the reports themselves, and that's how we collaborate and share, because those Excel reports go up to the server as well. So that's another key area that you're going to see that comes with every user has access to the Excel interface as well. And then on the agility side, not only are you confined to your desktop, all of the solution is available and reports can be accessed through the mobile platform. And so users in whatever device you have, you can access your reports, you can enter your plan numbers, you can see your dashboards. And in addition, there's built-in collaboration into the solution that can facilitate cross-departmental updates and changes to the plans and integrating people together, right from the executive offices down to the shop floor for folks who need access to the information in the business. Again, on the agility side, it's the databases. Obviously, the power of planning analytics is not just pretty graphics and pretty interfaces. We've all seen that all too often when it looks good, but I can't access the data the way I need to access it. I can't drill down in hierarchies the way I need to drill down them. I can't have dynamic hierarchies to switch between the way I want to look at my business. Every department needs to look at it in a different way, but still have a single version of the truth. And so part of that agility is a single version of the truth that everybody's looking at, but that people are able to slice and dice differently, whether I'm the executive stream or in finance or in sales. And so that is core. And in planning analytics, there is pipes that will load and access the data from behind your firewalls, as well as some data that can be stored on the cloud. And there's a mixed solution there of how to be able to meet that need for you across your business. And so technically, many will know that it's the TM1 cubes and TM1 servers in the back end that are driving plan analytics. And so for those of you that are currently using TM1, you're 3/4 of the way there. We can plug into your existing TM1 cubes and interface that and expose that through the planning analytics interface for your end users. And then agility, the other area that I've been stressing, is across the business. No matter who you are in the business, we're going to provide access to those data sources, but that you're looking at what you need, but in a collaborative way across the business. So everybody's able to share to the degree that from a security perspective you can share it, and certainly from an executive office perspective, they were able to get a better picture of the business across everything. This allows for simplified rolling forecasts, for example. If you're challenged in getting your budgets out on an annual basis, you don't dream of doing a rolling forecast, but in an environment like this, it's easy for every department to contribute in and get new updated numbers to react on business change and be agile in the business environment. And then with those behind us, we then move on to Foresight and predictive capability that's in the business, or sorry, in the solution. And just examples like optimizing my accounts payable and my accounts receivable, finding out what will change, what can I do, what's driving slowness in accounts receivable, how can I optimize my sales pipeline, so many different things. How can I get a better insight on what my expense or my revenue forecasts will be? those are just some examples, and there's others that I'm going to show you when we go into the demo part of the webinar here. Your Foresight is based upon the integrated Watson Analytics in your planning analytics solution. It will access your data sources directly, and as individual end users, you can simply post up unique data sources for analysis on your information, get predictions on what that is, and so we will show you a bit of that. Just to put icing on the cake, in addition to that, IBM has included external data sources such as weather company data, Twitter data, and Facebook data. The weather company and Facebook data will be coming in the not too distant future, and even now the Twitter data is online and accessible so that you can get social sentiment and insight as you endeavor on your marketing and your sales plans, and that comes with it as well. So planning analytics is an integrated environment providing you with numerous device interfaces from Excel to mobile to get to the information, integrated across the business, designed for execution together, and designed to do that quickly, efficiently, with speed, give you agility in your business, and foresight to anticipate the future. All right, I am going to jump into the demo now, and what I'm going to do actually is I'm just going to flip over to a recording that I did just in case we needed a recording, and I'm going to do this, but I'm going to do a live thing of Watson for you after this. This I just recorded yesterday, and so it's going to walk you through planning analytics on this, and then we'll jump into a live portion for Watson. This is live, having done yesterday. By insights on the business, analyze business information, do analytics on the business, and then also to dive in and make adjustments to our plans and budgets, see how that immediately impacts an income statement, and look at it in that way. So we're going to look at planning analytics that way. Then we're going to jump into Cafe, which is the Excel interface into the same data sets that our planning analytics is. We're going to see how we have the Excel interface for planning analytics that comes with that we talked about earlier. We're also going to then jump into Watson Analytics as another piece within planning analytics, look at how it can help us dive deeper into understanding the business, understanding the data, get predictive insights, and help drive better value from our information. So we're going to look at all of those together. So the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to go into planning analytics. We are going to log in. With this demo, we're going to log in as an administrator. And so we're doing this live, logging into planning analytics. When you first see it, you are looking at the opening welcome page to planning analytics that has a workspace in here, a shared workspace with multiple folders that can be in the shared workspace, and then you can also have a personal workspace as well in the environment. So as you work with your company's information, there will be standard templates built up in the shared workplace that those with rights can add to and contribute to in the shared workspace, and then you have your own personal analysis, build reports. So one of the things we're going to show you well is how you can custom build your own reports against your data in a way that requires clearly no programming and something that your end users can do. In addition to this interface, this is where we access the Watson Analytics component, and we'll look at that a little later. So the first thing we want to do is just kind of get a look and feel of how planning analytics works. We're going to first go in as if we are a CFO of the business and just try and get a look at how's my business doing and what's happening in the business. Of course, we can have the similar work like this for every business executive, leader, every frontline manager, whatever it is that individual needs to look at as permissions for their data sets, they can look at separate workbooks within planning analytics for everybody. So we're going to go into CFO workbook, and as we go into the CFO workbook, in this workbook, the first thing that we see is a dashboard for the CFO that allows him, in this case, to look very easily, obviously, what's the gross revenue, the cost of sales, the marketing investment going in, and net profit. In this case, you'll see for the budget that has been set for the 2015 year, and we're looking at gross revenue here versus units, other dimension that might be there. Within planning analytics, there are numerous other graphics and interfaces that can show the information in many different ways. In this case, we're looking at geographically. It recognizes geographic information and lays it out automatically on a map. Many different ways of displaying things here. We've got a dual way of showing it. We've got color-coded for the revenue, budget revenue coming out of the different state provinces, as well as the count of the dimensions that are reflected in there. In this case, this is a count of number of FTE reps in each of those areas. And then we've got a graph that we're showing here. These are changeable widgets, so I can go in and different things, and it's going to change the graph and change all of these, and we'll show how that synchronizes later. So this is really, I'm not going to go into the numbers here. This is just to kind of show you an idea of what the potential dashboard could be. Then we're going to go into the strategic plan. So we are, assume this is, we're setting up our 2015 plan, and the numbers that went in there and the targeted actual that went in there as well. As we look at all of that together, we can see in this tree chart how to achieve our plan based upon, and planning analytics automatically will build this up for you. And it's showing how it starts, of course, with revenue, expenses, profitability, shareholder value, which ultimately achieves our plan. Green is good, red is bad, and we see that we do have an issue here. Cost center 49.99, which is gross revenue. With that cost center, we're low on gross revenue as it relates to hitting our plan. On the margin side, we can see that our cost of sales, as it's set up in budget actual, is fine, but it's the gross margin is going to be down, and we know that the gross margin is down because of the revenue side is low. On our expenses side, we can see that most of our cost centers are going to be running well as far as expenses concerned. We've got a few that look like they're going to be over budget on an expense, but that's not really the key factor that's driving this. As we look at this right up at the top here, it's telling us very clearly what cost centers are going to be causing us problems, where we're okay. So we're going to focus in down on the gross revenue here and look at this. So as a CFO, I looked at this, looking at the plan. I want to make some changes here. So I'm going to go back to my main screen, and I have another workbook here that's specifically for revenue. I'm going to go into revenue, and as I look at revenue, we can see, not unlike tabs in Excel, there's workbook, there's multiple sheets on my dashboard that I can look at, things. So as I look at revenue, I realize that my revenue is low. I have to do something with it. Well, we just had an executive team meeting talking about our 2015 year coming up, and we realized that there is a huge opportunity for us within our laptop segment. And within our laptop segment, we've got normal laptops. We've also got our gaming laptops. Within our gaming laptops, that's something that we've realized that we truly have a competitive advantage here. And these new laptops are coming out on the market. We're going to decide we're going to invest heavily in marketing. And we believe that, especially in the latter half of the year, across all three SKUs in our gaming laptop, that we can dramatically drive further sales there with some good marketing that's timely placed. And so we're looking at it here by volume, by units across all channels. And our intent is we're going to increase our sales of the gaming laptops across all channels, and we're going to dramatically drive up our units there. So what I can do is I'm going to go into my product unit forecast, and here we're looking at all of our units here, and we can drill up and drill down in here, obviously. But our forecast for the year across all channels in units for our budget right now is 1476 on the gaming laptops. Well, what we want to do is we're going to increase in June. We're going to increase, and from June forward, we know that we're going to drive a minimum of 350 laptops, and I can just put 350 with the over right arrow and put that in. That's going to then drive that 350 units value down through from June forward. However, in beginning in September, we're going to put in another play, and so what we're going to do here is I can add in addition to that 350, add in another 150 to each item going forward across there. And so using these figures, budgeting in here, in addition to many other things, is easier than Excel, because one, I don't have to open up Excel here. Everybody's got access to it directly through their browser and the internet. And we're just scratching the surface here of many different things that can be done for this. And actually, you'll see here that I'm doing it in the base sandbox. And this is called sandbox. And so what I can do is I can click here. I'm going to create a new sandbox, and I'm going to call this Better Gaming Laptop. We're going to base it on the base scenario, and I'm going to create that. So then what that does is that means now that all of my numbers that I'm changing here, as you can see, I'm changing it now with the Better Gaming Laptop scenario. So now I'm up to 500 here, but no, I know in the last couple of months, I know that I'm going to drive this up to 1,000 laptops, because we're just going to pull the market out of this. And then in December, we're going to drive it to 2,500 for the Christmas season, and leverage that across all areas. Now, for the sake of this demo, you can see I'm just doing Massachusetts as the organization, but clearly we would do that across. So now we're up to 6109, and just to kind of show you another feature in here, and automatically, you wouldn't have noticed maybe that as I'm changing the gaming laptop line, it's automatically distributing it down across the same distribution of the different laptops there. So I'm going to up this now. I'm going to say, you know what? So we're up to 61, and I'm optimistic that we're going to drive 7,000 total for the year. That's really what I target. But when I hit that, automatically updates every one of these lines proportionally. 7,000. That's our new budget that we set in place, and you'll see that this is all in blue here. Change them to blue where it's going to change those numbers. So if I go over to my income statement now, and I look at my income statement, I have driven things substantially, and we can see that the gaming laptops line here is just marginally growing a little bit there, and that's because it's not scenario. If I go to my best case scenario, we check that. So I have to go back to product unit forecast. Here what I'm going to do is I'm going to commit it here. Commit that to the base. Those numbers are committed. Now I'm going to go back to my income statement, and you'll see there the growth on the gaming laptop line because I've now committed those numbers to the income statement. And so I've now made my budget, I've updated that, I've seen my new forecast lines, and I'm quite happy with what I've achieved there so far. So now I can go back. Clearly I've got all these other work that I work in. For the sake of time now, what I want to do is I want to now show you what's involved in how easy it is to build a new one. I'm going to say that I'm going to build a new planning workbook. You can build workbooks with multiple default different forms in here. I'm just going to build it in a completely open free form one here. It opens up a page here for us, and then what we see here is the databases we have access to, and here are all the cubes that are in that database. Of course, TM1 is the back end here, and these are TM1 cubes that are in there. But this often is far too complicated for your average user. And so with planning analytics, there's a huge leap over other ways of doing this. So I can just say, I want to view revenue. I don't even have to put that in right there. I could have just typed REV, and it would have gone off and looked for it and knows that when I want to view revenue, it's giving me 3 different scenarios here of different ways I can view revenue. On this default, so I'm just going to pick that default way of using is the way I want to look at revenue, and I'm just going to slide this down a little bit here. And then as I'm looking at this, I want to make a selector with my organization or region dimension, and so I'm going to drop that selector in up there. And now the other thing, this is showing it by month, but I don't want to show it by month, so I'm going to go down here and I'm going to make this change, and I want to look at it at years and quarters. So now that's in years and quarters. And that looks pretty much like what I want. However, I don't want to have these selectors up here, so I can just minimize those selectors. As I've done that, now I'm just all this space now on my screen for this. To do that, that's kind of what I want now for. Now what I want to do is I want to see this graphically as well. So I'm going to duplicate this, hit the duplicator button on there. I'm going to move this over, drop this in right around there, and now I've duplicated that information. Now what I want to do is change this to a graph, all kinds of different graphs, and we saw some of those already in the previous one. Just for simplicity, we're going to do this in a stacked bar graph. So we've got a stacked bar graph in there now. Well, now, here is something that is really slick and easy with this. When I click on here, right now, and I have Massachusetts and I change to say Florida, nothing's happening here. And that's because that's just a selector in there, and I haven't done something called synchronize. So I'm going to click on this here, and I go over here, down to synchronize. I want to synchronize this, but I don't need to synchronize on channel because that's already in my grid, and month is in my grid. But I want to synchronize on those other things. And I want to do the same thing for this one. Those off. And now what we see is when I change this to Florida, now everything changes and those are synchronized together on my dashboard. Okay, so now what we're going to do, just close that, we're going to take a break from this. Because I want to put a special income statement in here, and I know that that income statement is something that I've built in Excel, and I want to check that, and I want to put that into my dashboard and make it interactive with it for everybody to see in a published environment. So I'm just going to minimize that for now, and I'm going to open Cafe, which is short for Cognos Analysis Excel. And so I've opened Excel just like anybody else. The normal Excel, I'm going to go into Cognos tab, activate that, and I'm going to log in to the same database server that has that information, that planning analytics. Accessing. Security works, you got to spell it right. Okay, so we're actually logged into our database right now. And what I want to do is I want to open the income statement that I know I have in here already, that I've already built. I'm going to go in here, and it's going to go off to the database, to the server, and pull up this income statement right here and put this in here for me. This is pretty much what I want. I want to put this as a summary, but I'm going to call this summary. Gaming. What I want to do, that I've done that, I want to republish this, what I've changed. I could have changed anything, updated all this. I want to republish this back up to the server. I'll publish this back up to here, and I'll call it income statement. Servers. Now I just want to, once I've done that, I need to say I'm going to make this public. That becomes available, and I'm done. Now, do I want to save my changes to Excel? Key point here, none of the data is held in Excel, and in fact, in this case, the report itself, because I published that up to the server, the report itself isn't there either. So you don't have to have multiple versions of reports around different people. It's all held up in the server. So I'm not going to save that either. I'm just going to close that out, and there we have accessing that database in Excel. We can go back to Planning Analytics now and open this up. And in my applications now, I want to put that Excel income statement in here. And I think I put it into contribution. And there it is right there, gaming income statement and contribution. All I have to do is drag that down there, dashboard. Put it over there. A little bit. Now we've got that in the dashboard as well. We can close that up. And now we've got this. Now we can also synchronize this. So I'm going to do synchronize. Now that's synchronized. So now when we change to Massachusetts, changing. When I change to Florida, it's changing, and they're all working together, synchronized. And then just for a bit of flair, to show you something else here, we're going to now go in and we're going to add a year dialog off of that income statement and year, and I'm going to say add that as a selector widget into my dashboard. And now something even kind of cooler is I can then click on here and I can say I don't want that to be a selector that way. I actually want it to be a data player. Now at this point they're all synchronized, and as this changes and works through years, you'll be able to see that. Now this one isn't synchronized on year, so these are the only two changing on year. That year player, but they're all synchronized. The one that I updated my budget on, and I'm happy with that. And everybody would be able to see that now reflected in the dashboard as we've done. So there you have it, a great review of Planning Analytics, just a real quick of what we are able to do with it. Thank you very much. All right, everybody. I hope that you were able to see and hear that all right, and that worked out for you. Now I know we're kind of tight on time here now. But what I was going to do was I had promised to I'm actually in the environment here now, and I can just show you, I'll just show you where Watson is here. So this is the live environment that I did the demo off of, and up here is where there's access to Watson. So if I just click on here, it's going to open up Watson Analytics from within this environment. And there's a number of analyses that I've done here, and we're not going to have much time to go into them, but we can see as we go into this sales data information, we can do a prediction on the data. So data that came from the other environment, and I can say I want to do a prediction on this, and I can say I want to get a prediction on maybe gaming laptops. I can get rid of that, and I can put in my target is based upon revenue, and say create, and Watson is now live here, going out and generating prediction based on that. And that would come back in a few minutes, and we can see that prediction. We can also do analysis on this data in here and just explore that information. In that exploration, we're able to do, Watson comes up with basic questions that you might want to ask of the data already, and we can look at that. In this case, this is by gender and by product family. For the tablets and different elements, and there's ways of course, working with all of this. But we really don't have a lot of time to get into that with Watson. I'm happy to share that at another time. The idea ultimately, though, is as you work with your information in planning analytics, you're then able to move to Watson and get predictions on certain things that you can then bring back and implement into your plans and do deeper dives, and everybody has access to do that. In accessing the data there in Watson as well, there is the ability, just to show you here, to access your data sources, but I can drag and drop data sources up into Watson, upload to do the analysis for me. The other thing is there's the social media aspect that we talked about, and I went in and I did a social media, this might be the one I did here on social media prediction, and the other here, this media analysis, this was the one I wanted to show you. So I went off and I did wearables, health, and exercise, and it came back with an analysis against Twitter feeds and blog feeds to tell me the sentiment on different things, and I can look at the sentiment here relative to these items. So if I was trying to promote my gaming laptops, I could do a sentiment against that, see what that is, and work that into helping me to forecast my plans. So that's unfortunately just a whirlwind tour of that, but hopefully it gave you some insight into a little bit about how that would flow together. So the last thing here I promised is on the comparison with TM1. For those of you who do have TM1 in there, and you'll see this line here. From a TM1 perspective, on-premise or on cloud, you've got the OLAP engine. You've got the ability for the Excel integration with Café, which is the latest version that's included in Planning Analytics. You've also got the ability for web and mobile access in TM1 as well. However, you are, that's where it ends with TM1. With Planning Analytics, you've got those capabilities, but you've got the new workspace, you've got the Cognos BI elements built into it, you've got the Watson Analytics built in, solution accelerators, default report templates that we can use, plus you've got the administrative tools of Command Center and Integration Server. And so if you're currently a TM1 user, there are promotions to bring you up to the cloud solution, and that can be in part or in whole of your environment if you want to evaluate that. And there's streamlined transition ways for us to work with you to make that happen. So whether you're new to TM1 or you have TM1 and you see the value of what's in here, then there's an opportunity to look into that further. So I'm just quite conscious of the time. We're just at the top of the hour now. I'm not sure if there is any questions that came in here. I don't think I see any questions right now. If you have any, please don't hesitate to reach out to me if you're kind of interested in pricing, in transition issues, and questions. I'm happy to take all of those questions and work with you on behalf of the rest of the team here at Clear Insight. My name is Ian Margerison. You can reach me there at that phone number and at that website. So unless there's any questions now, and given we're at the top of the hour, I will let you go for this. I appreciate your time. Hopefully you've learned a good little bit and got some insight on planning analytics, what it is, and where it might be able to help you in your environment to drive speed, agility, and overcome some of the technical issues that you might be facing today. Thanks again very much for joining, and we look forward to connecting with you in the future. On behalf of the rest of us from Clear Insight, thanks very much. Bye for now.